Welcome to Aqua Coat's instructional video on how to apply the white cabinet grain filler to your cabinets. Initially, you're going to want to clean, DEGLOSS, and sand to 180 grit sandpaper. Here's your list of materials. I can't stress enough to not use tack rags because they have oils and waxes in them, and since the grain filler is water-based, it will repel the product. Make sure you apply pretty generously initially. We do recommend that you use pressure because that will force the product into the grain, and also focus on rubbing the product against the grain initially. This will again also help with coverage. Once you feel you're done covering any particular section, go ahead and take your flexible straight edge and remove any excess, but make sure you go with the grain when you do that. As you can see, I didn't use a whole lot of pressure here, and it did remove the majority of the excess. All I'm looking for is to make sure the product is left behind in the pores of the wood. We do get a lot of calls here at Aqua Coat on how to get the product into the insets of the cabinet or any detail work. The professionals that we work with, as well as here in our workshop, we found that using your fingers is the best option. This allows you to get into any tiny areas that you wouldn't be able to otherwise with any kind of flexible straight edges. Because the Aqua Coat grain filler is water-based, it dries super fast, which is why we recommend you work in sections. Especially if you live in high humidity or in a high humid environment, the dry time is going to be even faster. So what you don't want to have happen is to apply a whole bunch of product to your whole door and then not be able to remove any of the excess because it's dried already. So as you can see, I do use a smaller flexible straight edge to get into those tiny little areas, but I wasn't able to get everything, so this is where I used the clean rag with just a little bit of pressure to go back into those areas and remove the rest of the excess that I couldn't get with my straight edge. Again, just a little bit of pressure because you don't want to pull out any of that filler that you already have within the grains that you've done already. So that's it. Go ahead and repeat that process again throughout the rest of your door, making sure that you initially apply with pressure against the grain and then remembering to remove excess with your flexible straight edge with the grain. Don't forget the sides of your door. And then if you're going to paint the back of your door, you can easily also flip the door around and do the back of your door as well. We do recommend that you wait for it to dry 30 to 45 minutes before you proceed with any additional coats or any paint. This is a great shot because you really can see the white grain filler sitting within the pores of the wood, which is its primary purpose. Make sure you do 2 or 3 coats, lightly sand with a 220 grit or finer only immediately before your additional coats of filler and before your first coats of primer for adhesion only. 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of paint are recommended. Here you can see our finished results. It really does create a smooth, level surface. You don't see any paint or primer being absorbed by the grains of the wood or any of the grains of the wood showing through the paint itself. Don't forget you can order white cabinet grain filler from our website, www.aquacoat.com.